When it was announced that Okami would be receiving a proper sequel, I was definitely excited. So I thought it would be appropriate to talk about another Clover Studio game.
God Hand is a 3D beat-em-up by Resident Evil creator Shinji Mikami. It was the last game made by Clover Studio before it shut down. The game follows a young man named Gene, a wisecracking combatant who is a possessor of one of the legendary God Hands, which once belonged to a great hero who saved the world from a demon invasion. And by a possessor of a God Hand, I mean that was the actual limb of said hero that has now been attached to Gene's body. Now, a new demon uprising is brewing, and it's up to Gene to use his divine powers to stop it, to his somewhat reluctance. Basically, it's kind of like Devil May Cry, except a whole lot wackier. While DMC might have its fair share of zany humor, God Hand goes all in on the over-the-top, even cartoonish levels of comedy. One of the most significant features of the game is its high level of customization. Throughout the game, you're able to collect a wide variety of attacks, from a lightning quick flurry of punches to slow but powerful kicks that will launch your enemies across the stage. All of these techniques can be assigned to different buttons on the controller, and even linked into combos, allowing you immense versatility. You're also able to evade enemy attacks by moving the right analog stick in the direction you want to dodge to. Sometimes you'll even be able to pick up a weapon and absolutely wail on someone, which is always entertaining. It's definitely fun and interesting to find which techniques are best suited for certain kinds of foes, as well as being fitting for one's personal style of play. In addition to the standard techniques, you also have the roulette wheel mechanic. Throughout the game, you can collect cards that will give you roulette orbs, which are used to execute powerful roulette attacks. There's also the tension gauge, which will gradually increase as you attack enemies, or are attacked by them. When the meter glows gold, you're able to unleash your God Hand, which gives you increased speed, attack power, and invincibility for a short time. It's definitely a good idea to regularly upgrade your techniques and stats, such as your max HP and tension gauge, at the shop you can visit between levels. To do that though, you need money. Money can be found by smashing crates and by defeating enemies. There's also a casino where you can try your luck. Then, after beating stage 2-1, you unlock the Chihuahua races. Specifically, they're poison Chihuahuas, with crazy colored fur and even crazier names. And yes, it's as adorable as it sounds. It's also not a bad way to make money if you don't mind save scumming. In addition to currency, enemies and crates can also drop items such as dirty magazines, which will increase your tension gauge to max, as well as fruits to restore your health. Nice to see a game promote healthy eating habits. You'll definitely be needing all the booze you can get too, because this game will absolutely kick your ass multiple times over. This is yet another game that's infamous for its difficulty, but that warning is definitely not meant to be taken lightly. Even basic enemy attacks can knock off a big chunk of your HP, and that's not even getting into the boss battles. If you want to survive, you will need a strong arsenal of techniques, precise timing to dodge your foes, and a bit of luck to hopefully get some helpful items along the way. Thankfully, checkpoints aren't too infrequent, and there's no penalty for hitting continue. And despite the intense difficulty, it also feels extremely satisfying to pull off a powerful combo, or finally beat that boss after several attempts. This is a game that I enjoyed a lot, and one I'd certainly place in the good category. However, not necessarily everyone thinks so. Rather infamously, IGN gave the game a 3 out of 10 upon release, basically because they claimed it was a repetitive button masher, and because it was hard. For the first point, I feel like you could say that about a lot of games, especially ones in the hack and slash and beat-em-up genres. Hell, button mashing has been a part of the genre's whole thing since they debuted in arcades. And with the variety of attacks you could collect, and its high level of customization, God Hand is only as repetitive as you make it. As for its difficulty, I get that these kinds of games aren't going to be everyone's cup of tea. Even so, God Hand's difficulty isn't of the impossible variety, and oftentimes failing and learning from that failure can go a long way. While character movement can be a bit clunky, it doesn't take too long to get used to as you gain more experience with the game. Again, I don't fault anyone for not caring for this kind of game, especially with its high level of difficulty. But I feel like a 3 out of 10 should be reserved for games that barely function as games, such as Ride Town Retribution or Golem. So I can't help but feel that IGN's review was just a bit disingenuous and unfair. That being said, IGN's review was admittedly an outlier, with most critics giving the game solid ratings. Even so, many of them still refer to it as a good bad game, but it seems like they were afraid to admit to liking a game with an outrageous comedic style. Yes, the voice acting is pretty cheesy at best. The story isn't exactly a riveting narrative, but that's very much intentional. It was originally intended as a serious action game with some comedic moments, but the development team saw how much the audience enjoyed those aspects. They decided to go all in with the humor. Again, I completely understand that the tone of the game isn't going to click with everyone, but I don't think that's enough to call the game outright bad. Something else I often see criticized even by modern players are the graphics, with some even calling them outright ugly. I'll admit that Godhand's level of detail isn't quite as high as something like Devil May Cry or Resident Evil, and it certainly isn't as artistically ambitious as Clover's previous game Okami. But honestly, I really don't think Godhand is that bad looking. The stages are pretty diverse in appearance, and do a pretty good job of not looking too samey. Maybe it's because I've seen far duller set design in several other games, but I think Godhand's graphics are a-okay in my book, especially considering that it apparently did have a huge budget. Overall, Godhand is a good game. Not a good bad game, or an ironically good game. It's a solid, very fun beat-em-up game. This honestly might be the most fun I've had with a beat-em-up slash hack-and-slash game in quite a while. Not only that, but it was a game that was a product of the creator's vision that was put to life the way he wanted, which I think is pretty damn cool. Again, I totally understand this one not being everyone's cup of tea, but if you're a fan of the genre, this is unquestionably a must-play. As for the future of Godhand, well, we are finally getting that Okami sequel, so maybe there's still some hope yet. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to click like, and subscribe if you want to see more.